There is nothing scary about dating a brother who is called to ministry. I'm not in a full-time ministry yet, but I have worked with ministers over the years. For the past 20 years, I've been working with preachers. I've assisted some pastors. I've been very close to pastors and also being very close to their families, their marriages. And today I want to talk to young ladies or any sister who is planning to date or who is in a relationship with a preacher or someone that feels like he's called to ministry. There are a few things I want to tell you about being in a relationship with a preacher or with a young minister. I want you to relax. I want you to relax because I'm relaxed. So I want you to relax so I can pass across some information to you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So I took some notes, I kind of wrote down some notes so that it could guide my thoughts. I like to take a note before I make a video because my thought is guided. The first thing I want to tell you is that you want to ask questions. When a young minister is making advances to you, the first thing I would say is prepare your mind to ask him a lot of questions. Prepare your mind to be free with him. See him as your friend, I know you respect the call on his life. You respect the mantle on his life, the gift of God on his life. But I would suggest that you see him as your friend. See him, because what happens is when you start seeing him as your friend, your best friend, you remove the tensions. You are no longer under pressure. Just remove the tension and the pressure. See him as your friend or see him as your brother. Just see him as your brother and as a friend, because that gives you the liberty of your spirit and it gives you the freedom to talk to him. He's your friend. Talk to him. Yes, if God will, if it's God's will, you are going to spend your life together. But then, before then, even after then, even as your husband, you still want to see him as your best friend. So I want you to be free to ask him questions. And the first question I think you should ask him is his vision and purpose. When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Sit down and start asking him questions. You see, I have this habit of, for some years in the past, before, let me say that, I think that was 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I used to date somebody and, I like to test because of my writing skills. I like to test. I test a lot. And I was talking with one of my pastor friends and he said something to me. He said, when you are dating a girl, call her, hear her voice. Try and hear the voice of the person constantly, because the spirit of people, the spirit of a person is revealed through their voice. So there is power in voice. You want to hear the voice of the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So ask him questions, hear his voice. Let him talk to you. If someone is lying to you, you will know. Look him in the eyes, ask him questions. Yeah, ask him questions. Respectfully ask him questions, because he's your friend. I know you respect the call on his life. You respect the mantle on him, the oil, the gift of God on his life as someone in the ministry. But then he's your best friend. Be free with him. Find out his vision. That somebody's called to ministry doesn't mean that he's going into full-time ministry. That somebody's called to ministry doesn't mean he's going to own a church, run a church. Everyone is not called to have a church. There are fivefold ministry. You have the pastor, you have the teacher, you have the apostle, you have the prophet, you have the evangelist. So find out the area that God has called him, the area of ministry that God has called him. So that will give you clarity. That will give you some kind of settlement in your spirit to know what you are going into. Find out his calling and the area of his calling. Find out the location of his calling. There are people who are called to a certain group. There are people who are called to talk to youths. There are people who are called to talk to the maybe broken people, broken people in life, like those who are trying to come out of drugs. So, find out the area of his calling, the location location of his calling, if God is telling him to move to another country and start a ministry, you want to know all this. And you do that by asking questions. The most powerful thing in life is a question. Ask questions. It's very important. So you know his vision in life, you know his calling, you know his assignment. The Bible said, if you're going to build a house, it's important you sit down and ask yourself if you have what it takes. You count the cost to see, do you have what it takes to build this house? So this is the time for you to ask questions. It's very important to ask a question. The second thing, I'll be looking at my notes. The second thing I want to tell you is, do you like him? It's a question. Make sure this guy is somebody that you like. I didn't say love. Love is important. Love is good, but do you like his personality? Like, do you like him for who he is? Do you like him? You're going to sleep in the same bed with him for the rest of your life. You're going to kiss this man. You're going to make love with him. You're going to be in the same car with him wherever he's going. I mean, some places, you have to go together. Do you like him? This is not a contract you are going into. It's a covenant. So make sure you like him. Make sure your spirit is free with him. This is the man that is going to see your nakedness for the rest of your life. So it's a question you need to ask yourself. Do you like his personality? Are you attracted to him? You see, I want to say this. If you're not attracted to somebody, don't date the person. Don't do it. I don't care the vision, the prophecy, the dream they saw about you. If you don't like him, don't do it, please. Don't do it. It's very important. You must like him, because you're going to be talking with him more often. And another thing is, do you see yourself in his vision? Do you imagine yourself in his vision? Do you see yourself helping him because you are his helper? You're going to be there with him to help him in the call on his life. So it's important. Do you see yourself as a part of his vision? And understand, let me correct this, that you are someone's helper doesn't mean that you don't have a call. There is something, everyone is called to do something, and it doesn't have to be ministry. There is something that God has designed you to do. So you have to be able to see your calling and your assignment or your purpose inside his own purpose. So if the both of you, if there is no margin, if there is no connection, if the both of you do not agree in calling, it's a very, very difficult situation. So it's important that you see yourself or you see your assignment in his calling, so you are able to fulfill your own assignment too. And he will also help you. He's there to also help you fulfill your own assignment too. It's very important. You have to be able to, I already said this, see him as your best friend. Another thing I want to say is, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I say everything that I wrote down. Does he respect your family? Does he respect your mother? Does he respect your father? Does he respect your siblings? Marriage brings two families together. So if someone does not respect your family, you have no business being in the person's life. You have no business. It's a bad sign. He's going to be a bad in-law. So it's important. Who is he accountable to? You want to ask him, who is your spiritual father? Who is your role model? If you are doing something wrong and you are not willing to listen to me as your wife, who do I talk to? You understand what I'm saying? Does he respect his pastor? Does he respect his mentors? Does he respect his spiritual fathers? If he's not accountable to somebody, don't do it. I'm telling you, a man who is not accountable to somebody, if there is no man in his life that can rebuke him when he's wrong, don't ever do it. Don't go into a relationship with him. Don't do it. So what else? Does he have integrity? What do people say about him? What are the patterns of his life? Does he have a job? Does he pay bills? Or is he dependent on people to pay his bills? Is he willing to provide for the family? Is he willing to protect you? There is something important I want to say. This is very important. If you know, I normally tell my sisters in church this, especially when I was the youth pastor in my church, I used to tell them this. If you don't respect a guy, don't go into a relationship with him. If you know you have no respect for him, please don't go close, because the instinct of a man is wired in such a way that he can only stay with a woman that respects him. Even a man who is a fool wants a woman that submits and respects him. So if you know that for one reason or the other that you don't respect him, or you feel like you won't respect him, don't do it. Just let him be. Just tell him you're not interested, because his instinct as a man, he wants respect. Men process love through respect. As a matter of fact, God didn't tell a woman to love a man. God never said that. I mean, women naturally, they are built to love. But God knows that when you respect your man, he sees that as love. The moment you submit to him, that submission to him, he's seeing it as love. So if you know you don't respect him, or you know he doesn't have what you are looking for that should make you to respect him, don't date him. Don't go into a relationship with him. What else do we have here? Does he give you attention? Does he talk to you? Does he open up to you? Does he have character? You see, I've not mentioned anointing. I've not mentioned potential. I've not. I want you to know that somebody is anointed doesn't mean anything when it comes to marriage. I have seen pastors who are bad husbands. I have seen men of God who are bad husbands, like beating their wives. So don't let anointing confuse you. It's very important. He must have character. Character is very important. Does he talk well to people? How does he speak? How does he talk to you? Does he respect you? If he tells you he will call at 2 p.m., does he call at 2 p.m.? That's integrity. If he tells you I will do it, see, when a man is making a promise and he's not keeping it, that is a bad sign. If he doesn't keep his word, he borrows money from you, he doesn't pay you back, bad sign, not good. Finally, what is the last thing? Now, I want to talk to you as a sister. Understand that when you are going into a relationship with a guy who is called to ministry, position your mind that this guy belongs to people too. There are people who will come to him for help. He belongs to the world. There are people who will come to him for counseling, for help, for him to pray. There are people who will call his phone at night in an emergency situation to hear his voice, speak a word over their life, or to pray for them. God sent him to be a savior and a solution and an answer to problems to the world. When you have this mindset, now you must be willing to release him. You must be willing to let him do what God has called him to do. Yes, he's your husband to be, but he does not belong to you the way you think. He also belongs to the people that God has sent him to. So be willing to release him to do the assignment, that God has called him to do. And also be a mother to the people that God has called him to. You are supposed to be like a mother to them so that they are free with you, so that they see you as a mother, to all of them. They can, be hospitable, have that spirit of acceptance, accept the people, bring them close, open the house for the people. It doesn't mean they're breaking into your privacy, but it only means that you are like a mother. They see you as a mother. They call you mother. This is very important. It's a blessing to serve the Lord. It's a huge blessing. It's a powerful blessing. I've never seen anyone who served God with openness, who is genuine, that God didn't bless. Every dream from God, every vision from God will scare you the first time. If it doesn't scare you, it's not from God. If it doesn't scare you, if a divine idea or a divine blessing doesn't scare you, it has to scare you the first time, then God will take his time to prepare you for it. God bless you, and ask questions. Always ask questions. Remove the tensions, remove the pressure. See him as a friend, your best friend. Ask him questions and look him in the eyes when he's answering. God bless you.